So I have a couple of films on the docket for tonight. The first one was a film that's on Filmstruck. It is expiring next week, so I caught it just under the nose there. This is the wrong page. This was Cinema Through the Eyes of Magnum. It is directed by Sophie Bassaler and Bassaler. There's no I there. Sophie Bassaler, and I believe it was made for French television originally, or has aired on French television. The internet's telling me it's a television film, but I believe Filmstruck had the exclusive streaming rights, so it's expiring soon. It also premiered played at the Telluride Film Festival, and it is about the founding of the photographic cooperative Magnum, which was founded in the 40s by Robert Capra, David Chim Seymour, Chim is his nickname, Henry Cartier-Bresson, George Roger, and William Vandervert, as well as Rita Vandervert and Maria Eisner. They founded it in Paris in 1947. Robert Capa kind of had the idea for it. It was a collective of photographers who would own the copyrights to their own work and own and manage it so that they could do what they really wanted rather than taking assignments from, like, say, Life magazine, who would then just own all of the film outright. They also began partnering with films and shooting on film sets and creating, these documentary style photography of film sets was rare during the early part of the studio system. And so that's why you've got all these great on-set photos from the 50s through the 60s. And even to this day, there's still Magnum photographers occasionally assigned to film sets. And so it goes from the beginning and deals a little bit with Robert Capa's relationship and affair with Ingrid Bergman, including having Isabella Rossellini talk about it. And anytime you get to see Isabella Rossellini talk, you're in for a good time. And then goes all the way through contemporary Magnum photographers and their shoots with people like Cate Blanchett and Kate Winslet and Ralph Fiennes. It's really a great short little documentary. It's shy of an hour. It's also got a great archival interview with Eve Arnold talking about her time with Marilyn Monroe that was just fantastic. And then new interviews with people like Dennis Stock, who spent months photographing James Dean, including right up to his death, and several other photographers who worked on, like, the set of Zabriskie Point, Antonioni's Zabriskie Point, and things like that. And so it was really beautifully illustrated with these photography where they would show the photography, and then the photographers who are still with us would talk about, like, how they got assigned to that, what it was like to film that, what the atmosphere was in these Hollywood sets and on the sets in the 60s when they started shooting all the art films with, like, Antonioni and Fellini and the Beatles and all of that. And it's just a really great look at an interesting side of the film industry that we don't often think about, these, set photographers. And the photography that's shown is just breathtaking. I particularly enjoy the work that Eve Arnold did with Marilyn Monroe and Joan Crawford, and they really show quite a bit of that. And the archival interview with Eve explains how that came about and why, like, in particular, that one very famous photograph set of Joan Crawford getting ready and putting, with the things on her eyes and putting on her eyeliner and all of that, like, the story behind how that shoot came to be. Amazing. Also on Filmstruck are about 20 or so mini interviews with the photographers. Some of the interviews are basically, it's what was featured in the documentary but expanded. So there are bits and pieces that were in the documentary, but it's the whole interview with that photographer, so you get even more in depth of them talking about the various subjects that were featured in the documentary. So it's good. It's about an hour, plus there's another almost 2 hours worth of these little mini-sodes. And it's on Filmstruck right now. It's going to expire on next Friday. So definitely check it out. I don't think it's available anywhere else. So this is your like one shot. I'm gonna watch another movie in just a second. So you get another video from me in a couple of hours.